In this week's episode of One Piece, Luffy and his crew have a chance encounter with the pretty and pink and poisonous-loving Reiju Vinsmoke, the sister of Sanji, who has the unique ability to consume any poison and even considers it a rare delicacy, which couldn't have come at a better time as Luffy is suffering the dangerous effects of the stoned armored fish of the boiling sea, which is so poisonous it can kill a giant. Why is Reiju doing this? Why is she deciding to save one of their enemies who could potentially thwart the big wedding plans so that the Vinsmokes and the Charlotte family can come together? I'm not really sure why. I will say, though, that Reiju is very nice to look at. One of the big things to take away from this episode is despite the fact that Germa 66 is known as a group of warmongering badasses, they actually managed to have a lot of heart to them as well, with Reiju basically being the one who's going to be extending the olive branch of kindness. That being said, they still have to be very careful about what they're doing, especially because Peckhams happens to be on the boat, and considering that he's one of the right-hand men of Big Mom, they decide not to cross him and they actually allow the Straw Hat Pirates to move on. They wouldn't want to do anything that could potentially interrupt this wedding, and we learn, according to Peckhams in this week's episode, that the reason why Big Mom is so interested in the Vinsmokes in the first place is because of their technology. That's what allows them to sort of fly around all over the place and have these unique abilities like being able to absorb poison. This is basically the signature technique of Reiju, Poison Pink, where she's able to absorb all of these things and ailments from people's bodies. And you can even see that as she's doing this, the dress that she's wearing, which takes the form of butterfly wings, actually have these like little extra circles and rings which appear on them when she absorbs the poison, which she herself considers to be quite delicious. After a brief encounter, Luffy is fine, but he still declares to Reiju that he is going to get Sanji back no matter what. The finale of this week's episode introduces us to Whole Cake Island and all of its surrounding islands. 34 islands to be exact, all with their very own rulers who go by the name of ministers. And they actually encounter another one of Big Mom's tart ships, and they pull over to the side, and Peckhams reassures him that this is a ship that he simply stole. He's gonna have it stowed away with all sorts of sweet gifts for Big Mom, and before they can even come up with any sort of solid plan, both Luffy and Chopper decide to run towards some massive city which is made entirely out of chocolate, which for them is probably a dream come true and totally reminds me of the Simpsons episode where Homer went to the land of chocolate himself. Ending this week's episode, to be continued screen, what's the rundown on this week's episode of One Piece? This was a good episode. It was a great introduction to Reiju, but it was also just a really slow episode. Almost nothing happened in this episode, aside from Reiju just showing up on the boat, sucking out some poison, and boom, we're at Big Mom's island. That's about it. Most of this episode mostly just had a lot of reaction shots from the characters, and Brook being kind of a pervert as he always is. Although I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was really funny after all of the seriousness of everything that just went down, Luffy having his life saved, declaring that he's still going to go after Sanji, that the only thing on Brooks' mind is that he still just wants to see Reiju's panties. It's an old joke and one that he's made like 100 times, but the fact that he's playing it up so serious just honestly put a really big smile on my face. That and the fact that I'm really glad that we get to see some more of the dynamic of the Vinsmoke family, how they're strikingly similar to Sanji in many ways. Reiju basically being sort of the odd woman out, and while she's not a hornball like her brothers Sanji and Yonji, she is very sexually promiscuous in the way that she is designed. With the 6'6" being right in her inner thighs, it's hard not to notice that, not to mention her big old giant eyes. Who am I kidding? I'm talking about her boobs. Gazongas, Twin Peaks, you know what I'm talking about. Not to mention the way that she actually utilizes her Poison Pink ability is that she actually has to kiss Luffy on the mouth, much to the shock of everyone and to the chagrin of Brook himself, who probably wishes that he would have eaten that fish's skin at that point. But she actually ends up saving the day, and that turns her into a pretty pleasant character. That and it's still really funny to watch them walk around on their goofy shoes and the noise that they make. And really, that's all there is to this episode. It's basically just a nice introduction to Whole Cake Island, the surrounding islands, and the fact that it has the ridiculous name of Totto Land, or Tot Land. You'll get to see a lot more weird stuff in next week's episode, I assure you, when we get the formal introduction of Big Mom, and let me tell you, it's gonna be really flashy. And so the Vinsmoke family has been formally introduced into the One Piece series, and that's why you should definitely check out this week's episode, which I'm going to give a 4 out of 5. Typically for an episode like this, which is really slow and not that much development, I would give it a 3, just kind of an average one. But the fact that they are introducing some major characters like Reiju, her unique abilities, and we're also getting to go to Totto Land for the very first time, I think it's something that all One Piece fans should definitely check out. And trust me, the weirdness has only began. Just wait for some of the crazy trippy imagery that is about to come your way in next week's episode. So there it is, that's my thoughts on this week's episode, an alright one, but I would love to hear your thoughts about it, and you can tell me in the comments section below. What did you think of the introduction of the Poison and Pink Reiju Vinsmoke? Did you think her unique abilities were pretty awesome? What do you think Yonji is going to be capable of? They seem to have their very own unique talents. What do you think the other brothers are going to do, and what do you hope to see from the rest of this brand new Big Mom arc? Thank you guys for watching this review. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for all things One Piece related, either that be anime or manga. I review them both. And make sure to leave me a comment telling me what you thought about this week's episode. I'm always up for a good conversation. And of course, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time. And as always, stay dandy, baby.